Well, thank you everybody for coming again, and we'll get down to it because I know there's lots of stuff people have going on, so we'll begin. Your last offer counter was 1,200 on the base, and step and call.
Correct.
And I am going to have Lorna, who knows a lot more about numbers than I do, project up onto the screen maybe to kind of give you an idea so that you guys can see some of the numbers and costs and stuff that we're looking at.
Jeff, will that be visible to anybody watching?
No, it will not.
Then I regret asking that.
Do you have copies of that? Or
It's all electronic, it's all
Okay.
fed, I've got a salary schedule with all the salaries, individual step-in stuff on a different tab that all feeds in. Basically, salaries of everybody, this is where, down here is basically the salary schedule we have right now. And if I increase the base to 41.2, which is the $1,200, Nick calculates in the cost for teachers, social workers, PT, everybody's on the salary schedule. The fixed expenses, fixed costs, sorry, I'm not used to talking for a long time this time, and everything else. This is not food service, this is not operating expenses, this is nothing else. This is strictly salary based. Out of the new money, I'm short $500,000. With the breakage.
all right, so just to make sure that we all have our numbers still, that they haven't changed any. You've got new money at 928, 727.
I have it at 928, 669, but I mean it's just a matter of dollars.
Right, yeah, okay. And that's new money and breakage, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you know how much it is if we, for every $100, if you were to add $100 per cell, how much that would be including fixed costs? For every $100 added to the cell, how much would that be?
Do you want me to take out, put it back to 40 and then do that? Like I can play around with these numbers, like, see, I'll show you, as we change
If we
things,
take that back to 40 and go like 40,100.
it changes everything to me. Now I've still got 172,000 to spend. right here.
So that's at 40?
That's it.
4,100.
40,100.
Okay, so go back to 40 to get where Liz is getting at. Let's find out.
But
what
I
that-
think I think we need to put this, ooh, sorry. I think we need to move this back to 40, and then here is your vertical and horizontal. I think these all need to be upped by 100 to change each cell, correct?
Mm,
Or do I need to, let me just.
if you put at 40,100, didn't that add $100 to every cell?
All right, so that one's 40.
Yeah.
I just want to verify. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
Yeah, so that adds $100
Yes.
to every cell. Okay.
Yes.
So how much is it to add $100 to every cell, not including step and lateral? Because you told us that step and lateral was 370.
I have step and lateral built in. This spreadsheet down here, down below, is I have every teacher in here, every salary over here already listed.
Right.
Going up, whoever's moving a step and a column. I would have to go and literally take all those out to calculate just the $100 and not the step and lateral. It would take a little bit.
Okay.
I just assumed
But
step and lateral was.
I still think if you tell us, show us, put 40,000 in that right there.
And you're talking the difference between,
Yeah, I just want to know the difference between 40,000 and 40,100.
Yeah, and then that should get us the
Single
different, like $100
Yeah.
for step and lateral.
Yep.
Yeah.
cell. Yeah.
And tell us what those numbers are, because I can't see
Yeah, me neither.
Well, I can't see for one.
that all.
But then hold on, I've got it, when,
And if you-
All right, so at 40,000,
I gotta take this off, because when you increase your base, it increases your the supplemental, they go up, so I had to change that, sorry. So I had to cut that back to 40.
okay.
So at
So
40,
at 40,000, you are looking at, what is that number, 334?
334.
Which is less than what you told us it was.
Remember, I had figured in that $45,000 bonus, we took that off, not the bonus, but the longevity, because originally just wanted.
Oh,
to do
okay.
money.
So 334,430 is
Yes.
what I think I'm seeing. Okay.
Yes. and
So
now
then if we put in the 40,100,
There you're at 372, so it's another 40,000.
372, 409. Okay.
I'm sorry.
330 what? 430.
Did you guys do math on that already?
No.
No? All right, just checking.
What'd she say?
She asked if we subtracted that already.
I can.
37,979? Yeah. Did you guys come up with 37,979? All right, I want to make sure we're all looking at the same numbers. Okay, so when we created our proposal, we used some old numbers, which we have, you know, some different staff from last year than we did before. So when we created a $1,200 per cell proposal, we were using that to add $100 per cell was going to cost $35,600. So we did go up, you know, what is that? $2,300.
Yeah.
So that does increase that cost a little bit, but when our initial proposal, or our proposal before, included $1,200 plus step and lateral, and that was figuring step and lateral at $370,000, so that included the $1,000 we had talked about and stuff, and so that was $797,200. And the total new money is $928,669. So that still leaves, you know, $100 and some $1,000. 100 and what, Jill? Okay, $169, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
$1,000 not taken with this, that includes all of the additional fixed costs, when we're talking about Medicare and those kinds of things. But it also doesn't include the 124,000 that we were told that was saved from last year that was in the budget.
The 124,000 is rolled into special education. We don't have enough, we don't get enough money from state aid to cover our expenses for special education. It's supplemented by the general fund.
It is supplemented by the general fund, but if we look historically back, special ed has tended to gain quite a bit of money, like it looks like that's where the money is put.
That's the only place we can put like our reserve money. It has to sit in there. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I may need your help on this. We only have certain funds that we can carry a balance in.
Correct,
And that's one of them.
correct. But that's 124,000 that then doesn't have to be put into special ed this year.
Our special ed factor got cut this year. We're only getting $100,000 in new money for special ed this year.
And why? Do we know why?
The state factor changed. It went from 0.41 to 0.37. Now why, I'm sorry, I do not know. I haven't been in this long enough to know how all that works.
This is simply a guess, but the legislature allocates a certain amount of money towards special ed, and it's divided among the number of special ed teachers. That's how the factors arrived at.
Thank you.
Okay, could you scroll up for me, please? And would you mind talking more about what you have over on the right?
Over here,
Yeah,
this is my new money. This was our total budget. These were just salaries, and this is basically my remaining budget. This is for all the funds. This is at risk, this is gifts and grants, this is everything.
Can you zoom that in real quick, Lorna, please?
Yeah.
Just the right side for everybody.
Like maybe a lot.
Maybe, yeah, a couple, just new.
Sorry,
Liz, can you see that from where you're sitting?
yeah.
it's hard to see.
No, I know you, I know it messes you up on the left
The
side.
eye
but-
doctor and I can't see.
I was gonna say, these are even new glasses.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see on my left eye right now.
This is just basically showing budgetary
Can
numbers.
you guys see that okay, enough at least?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably enlarged for Liz over there.
Sorry.
This
go
was
ahead.
simply, I was calculating what my estimated increase in operating cost was. With the consumer price index at the 1.8%, this was what I was playing with my numbers for increased operating expenses. So if I take what's left times the 1.8,
But you're not putting any figures in there.
no.
For
This is strictly general fund
It's
new
just a
money.
blank line for your sake, not ours.
Right.
All right, so why is, talk to me about why you have total new money for fiscal year 21 as 928, but you have a new money for salaries of
Because
728.
we added breakage this last week, that's what, I mean, the meeting before, I'm sorry. Oh, this is new money needed. So, this is total new money for all salary increases, is 728,000 is what I need. If we increase this by 100, sorry, I don't mean to scroll around everywhere. If I increase this by 100, that makes a 1.89% salary increase. For everybody to get paid 1.89%, I have to cover all my expenses. This is what it costs. Sorry, I'll go back over here.
And it would probably be a little more than that because you zeroed out supplemental, didn't you?
No, I took off, well, it's just $100. It's not gonna be that big of an increase. Supplemental's there, it's just not the,
Right.
if I increase it from 40 to 41.2, it's like $26,000 more. That is not in there.
All right, so if you're saying,
I'm saying I have $200,000 left to allocate with $100
No, what did you think that 40,100 is 1.89%, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my issue with that number.
Okay.
Is that 1.89% is, like 40,100 is 1.89% if you were a brand new teacher, but no one who is coming in the bottom left, they're going to be getting the new pay. So everyone else is going to be moving. But if you're in the top right, or you're stuck in the gray area that we still have, $100 is not 1.89%. So I don't like that we are continually talking about a percent raise when not everybody is getting that percent raise. Especially for those teachers who aren't moving. It is not nearly 1.89%. I know that you're talking about overall, and you're talking about if people are moving, and you're including the percent that you're going up, but we've got almost a half of our staff that doesn't move. And it has come over and over again from KSDE that districts should be looking at somewhere between 2.5% and 3% raise. And 1.89% is not 2.5% to 3% raise.
But remember, we just put 40,100 in there.
Okay, so let's put the current offer of 40,250.
That takes you to 2.19 as an overall average.
And Laura, where does that put us on the?
Far right. 104 over.
That's a good thing.
Or 108?
Left, 108,000 left to spend.
Our point of showing you is, we don't disagree with you. We see the same number you do, we get it. But where do we take it from? How do we do that? That's what our position is. We're not trying to come at you with something to insult you or anything that came up last meeting. That's not our intent. That's why we're opening the kimono to show you what we have to work with.
I guess I'm confused on why if I look at, and so I can, I need to reduce the numbers really quick. I want to use the current numbers that we just figured.
Marty, while she's figuring that, do you have our insurance numbers for us now with that 6% increase? Could we get a copy of that?
Yep. You get that news.
Does it break down how much is for each
Yes.
option, how much it's increasing for each employee? Yeah.
It will tell you how much, if you're on the single, how much your contribution is gonna be and all that. It doesn't, I'm not sure that I'm.
So it doesn't show like what we paid this year, well, last
No,
school year,
we can send you both sheets.
if you would.
Sure.
Yeah,
You want me to send it, just email Jill those sheets?
yeah, that'd be
Yes.
great.
So when did that increase, I missed the next part, like, is the increase same on each plan?
No.
Oh,
it is-
that's a
it's
good
different-
question.
It probably
Because-
isn't, yeah.
I'm gonna say,
Well,
in the
6%.
past, the increase has been different for each plan. Is that percent would be the same for every plan?
Or just the single.
It
Oh,
should be, you know what, that's a good question. I don't want to misspeak. My understanding was that it was the average, but I think that it was that way across the board. 6.5.
But we can figure that out by looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty clear.
So you said you had this.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
And I realize you guys are still thinking through that, but it was important to us that you just saw it from our perspective, which is just one side of this.
No,
That's
and
all
I,
we're trying to do.
and I appreciate seeing the numbers.
We were so far apart, it mattered to me that we could at least say,
We want you
look,
guys-
you gotta
No.
see what we're looking at.
No, and I
That's all.
appreciate, yeah, and I appreciate seeing the numbers, because if we both have the same information that we're working
Yeah,
from.
it's a lot easier,
Then
for
it's a
sure.
lot, yes, but if we're working with different information and different numbers, then that.
I just was like, we're so far apart, we're not telling our story well enough for you guys to see it our way, and we were absolutely hearing your side,
And Liz, I
the
can
gap
sit
was
here-
too wide.
I can sit here and plug numbers in.
All day long,
All
right.
day long and change them for you guys to see. I mean, if you wanna throw out numbers, I'm more than happy to sit here and change these.
Okay.
Caucus, and think of whatever you wanna do.
Well, I mean,
We're
honestly.
throwing a lot at you, so.
So, a couple of things. We had proposed a couple of different things last time. We had proposed changes, like a new discretionary proposal that, we had proposed a new due process proposal, so I was a little confused on why due process was crossed out. Cause we had taken off the binding arbitration on that one and just lowered it to 3 days.
Are you looking at agenda,
Or
Liz?
3
Is
years.
that what you're?
Yeah. And then we had also proposed the 1,200 without insurance. And so we'd kind of like to hear, some counters from you guys, so that, cause I don't wanna go back in caucus, cause right now we don't have
Fair.
proposals to caucus for.
Absolutely. Well, and the first thing we wanted to do was share with you the numbers to be as transparent as we can be.
Right.
What I would like is maybe to have a couple minutes with our group, if we can do that. And see if we can come back with
Sure. Yeah.
something else. Okay, we would make a counter proposal that's part of a package deal. We would add 375 to the base, which would take it to 40,375. We would be willing, because it's non-binding with the due process, to go to 4 years from the 5. So the fifth contract, and drop the request of the fixed 15 extra minutes. And Lauren is gonna plug in what happens when we go to 4375. And I clog up my glasses.
I have $28,431 left.
What's the percent?
Oh, I'm sorry. The percent is 2.44.
Okay, I have a couple questions. So, when you had that back at 40,100, you had told us that was 1.89%. What equals the 1.89%?
The 1.89% is going to be last year's actual salary, this year's projected salary. It's the percentage of those two numbers.
Okay, because if
It's-
I take, and I haven't done it with the 375 since we just got that offer, but I did it with the 100, and if you take 100, if you take 40,100, or if you take 40,000 and divide by 40,100, it's actually 0.997%. And so I'm trying to figure out where you got 1.89.
Step and call.
That's what my question was.
Right.
Okay,
Because step and column is based in
is
there.
included.
And
Yes.
in case I didn't make it clear, step and column would include what I
Okay.
said.
Step and Collins in your counter proposal as well.
Yes, right.
Okay, and then could we look at the far right side again for that, with the new proposal? Okay, so,
This shows the 28,000.
right, but okay, you said that was 2.44%.
Yes, I'm
So
sorry.
by doing that, you're saying that the teachers will average 2.44%. I just want to make sure I've got everything straight in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So that teachers will average 2.44%,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you have, because you say that you've got 22,000 left over, but in that number on the far right, you've included classified and admin, correct?
Yes,
So what does that give classified and admin as a raise?
2.44.
So here's my issue with that, is that every classified and every admin will get 2.44%, but not every teacher. And that's my big problem with looking at percents. That you can say you all got $375 more dollars. And I'm not saying that admin doesn't deserve it, and I'm not saying that classified doesn't deserve it. But over half your teachers aren't going to be getting that same percent raise. Okay, however, those same teachers will have to pay, what were our single percentages, Jill?
Option 4, 11% increase, option 3, 23.46% increase, option 2, 17% increase, option 1, 18%. That's just a single employee. The lowest increase, we have 3 of them at 3.7%, and that's an employee child, option 4. I'd like to know how many of them actually take option 4, because I used to take option 4, and I know it's a low number. But most take 1, 2, or 3, and those increases are 8.9, 8.5, 8.3 for employee children. Our family increase, if families are taking it, option 4, 3.2, option 3, 8% increase, option 2, 7.6% increase, option 1, 7.54. So most, especially if you're in that top column, will likely lose money this year with that kind of money put on base,
So
which is a lot.
Jill started figuring this, and I started going, I actually looked back and asked Misty, I said, is this the right numbers? Like, are these the most current updated numbers that we're getting? Because none of that seemed to average 6%.
But when you guys are figuring those rates, are you taking the premium rate times 1.065 and looking at the difference between last year and this year? Or how are you figuring your rates? Because when I look at it, I'm not getting those same numbers. How are you figuring it? I take the premium rate times 1.065. So if I look at the 1920 rate times 1.065, and then I look at the 2021 rate, they're pretty darn close. So I didn't know how you guys are
We
figuring
were
your
just,
numbers.
the calculator's doing it for me, percentage increase.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I can't look at them. We'll be more than happy to go back and
Yeah.
relook at those, and if we are wrong, I will be happy to admit that,
That would be
because,
wonderful.
because when she started putting out those numbers, my eyes got bigger, probably the only thing you can see, but, because those were big numbers. So we will be more than happy to relook at that and make sure that that is done. But with this new offer, we'll go ahead and go caucus. All right, thank you. and the percent difference is of $149.78. That's actually an 18.86% increase for a teacher.
For the numbers I shared.
Okay, so over here in this last column,
Hey Liz.
Yeah.
This one's not working.
It's back up now.
okay.
There we go. You good?
Over here in this last column are the actual percent increases for the teachers and the staff who would be taking the district's health insurance. Okay, so this column is just showing that the 1.6%, and then this showing what the 1.6% would be. So B would be last year's cost, E would be this year's cost. Okay. We feel very strongly that teachers should not have to take a pay cut to keep themselves healthy. Jill?
We have teachers right here in the room with us, if I may. She gave me permission. But Susan Sitnauer, who has worked for our, I kind of tear up saying this, but she's been in our district for 36 years. Extremely respected by staff, students. She, with the proposal from you guys, she'll get $11 raise this year. Sean Riley, who's been with our district 26 years, this will be his 26th year, he's gonna lose $400 based on our numbers with insurance and what your guys' proposal is. I don't think that's, I don't know how we can be okay with that. For me, for my family, I'll change options again and have to not have a better plan just to absorb that increase, which is not what I want to do, especially during this time. But to cover that, it would be a $630 increase in insurance. So my option would be to decrease to option 4 instead of the option 3 that I'm currently in.
What is the rate you're paying at?
What am I paying right now?
Yeah.
For my, I was paying $586 for just my children and I. And it would go up to $639. So I would switch over to option 4, which has no copay, a very high deductible. For example, when I take my child that has hypothyroidism, it's $125 just to go to that appointment then. And then another $100 for her blood work that she gets every 6 weeks if I would have to go to option 4. But that's what I would have to do to counter that increase.
We did a survey at the end of end of last week, and coming back, the response from the teachers overwhelmingly, I put out and I just did a summary of what all the proposals were, and I said on the survey, okay, where would you like us to focus our efforts? If we have to give somewhere, basically we were wanting to look at, okay, if we wanted to do a negotiation and give something, or, compromise or do something, what kind of, where are the teachers thinking the important parts are? The top 4 are salary, health insurance, anything to do with COVID MOUs that we might need, and then changing all leave to discretionary. Everything else drops way off from there. Okay, 94, almost 95% of the respondents put salary, where over 50% put health insurance and COVID MOUs. Okay, so these are things that are very, very important to the teachers. Things that, especially with an increase in health insurance, they would like to not take a cut this year. We also have a package offer. It includes the step-in lateral. $1,150 on the base with no added cost to insurance. So not increasing insurance payment. Wait, how can I say that equally? District still pays $400 in insurance.
Thank you.
There we go. The due process for the 3 years with no, say that again? 4, 3 years. Did you propose 4 years?
4. Yeah.
Wow, I wrote that down completely wrong. Just that. Due process for 4 years. All leave discretionary with the buyback at the end of the year, and then the duty day is defined in the contract, which was something that the board was interested in doing this year.
I'm sorry, what was the last part, duty day?
The duty day is defined in the contract. Currently, the number of hours is just defined in the contract, but not the duty day.
So your counter is step and ladder, $1,150 on the base. Insurance, as far as district contribution, stays the same.
Yes.
Due process, from 5 to 4 years. Duty day is defined, I think I missed something.
Discretionary.
Sorry, with buyback.
And Liz, just to make sure that I'm on the same page and I don't misunderstand, the number of hours are defined currently, and you are thinking what in terms of duty day?
Nate, do you have that sheet?
Yep.
Thank you. Currently, well, it would be 15 minutes, the board had proposed 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after.
Right.
So, for the middle school, that would be 7:35 to 3:15. For the high school, that would be 7:40 to 3:20. And then for elementaries, that would be 8:35 to 4:15. I don't know if we would need to look at elementaries closer, because I don't know if the different elementaries have been starting technically at different days due to busing. But I thought they all started the same time. So that would be something that we would have to look at closer.
I don't care which side answers this, but why are the duty day time periods so much different between each level?
Busing. They run a middle school route, or they run a secondary route, and then they go back and run an elementary route. So the middle school starts school at 7:50. The high school starts school at 7:55, because they drop off at the middle school first, and then they drop off at the high school.
And what did you say was the duty day for the high school? I didn't catch those.
It would be 7:40 to 3:20.
Thank you.
So what time did you say the middle school ended?
Middle school ends at 3, so their duty, so a teacher's duty day would be 7:35 to 3:15.
Oh, I wrote down 3:45. That's where I was confused.
Oh.
It's so much longer. Yeah, and like, the middle school teacher's not complaining?
Yeah,
Got it.
probably feels that way at middle school, doesn't it?
Overachievers.
Yeah, thank you, sorry
Yes.
about that.
All right, that gives us a little bit of clarity on your counteroffer. We're to the point where I know there are some other folks that have meetings that they need to get to, and we're running out of time. Is there a date that you guys would have for us to meet again?
what week are we looking at? You guys have a board meeting on Monday, correct?
Correct.
So, are you looking at? I mean, do we want to meet again this week? Since it's only Tuesday? Or do you want to wait until after the board meeting?
Some of it may be availability.
Like, I can meet on Friday in the afternoon. I have a meeting that's been rescheduled twice in the morning.
Afraid they might think you're dodging if you try to do that again.
Well,
How do you
no,
feel it?
it's with Mr. Patton's wife, so she probably knows for sure.
Oh, so you are trying to dodge it.
Meet with one Patton or another on Friday.
That's right.
I don't even have my paper calendar. I need to get times. What are you guys thinking? Next week? This
Well,
week?
this Friday is the Seaman football golf tournament in the afternoon. That's, I was hoping to make an appearance at that at least.
I keep forgetting about that, I'm sorry, I know.
That's
you
fine.
mentioned that.
You're fine.
Is that in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's, also, I guess I don't have to make that do that. I mean, it would be amazing to wrap things up before Monday, but I don't know how, we get that done before the end of the week.
Or is it, do we want to meet like Monday morning or Monday afternoon?
Just trying to think. Today's
Good.
Tuesday, right?
Yeah. My calendar did have all kinds of PD on that day, but that is not there yet.
It's just,
so-
I don't know. We're gonna have to work at it again. We're just still, we're pretty far apart still. And it's not like you're not making great points. That's not the problem. You've seen the dollars though, so it's blood out of a turnip at this point. So we're just trying to figure out how to do that. And I don't know how we're gonna do that between now and Monday. But it's not lost on us, the challenges you're facing. If that helps any, it probably doesn't, but we see it just like you see it, so we just don't, we're not even close. So yeah, I mean, I can even make myself available this week if we need to, regardless of that golf thing. That doesn't matter. I'd like to get this finalized, so. I can do Friday afternoon, I can do Thursday afternoon. I can do Wednesday after. I can move things around. It's more important to me to get it finalized than it is the other things I've got going on.
I can't do it until I BLT. Tomorrow Wednesday? Yeah, tomorrow Wednesday.
They all kind of blend together.
I have BLT tomorrow.
You have BLT too.
I guess to go along with what Jay said, I'm completely fine meeting this week, but I'm not sure what the point is at this point. Without a board meeting, I hate to keep repeating what we're repeating.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I was hoping that would help, but it doesn't look like it did.
Do we want to say that again?
I was hoping sharing what we did would help, but it's not. So we're gonna just pick at it again. And I don't know how realistic that is before Monday. Even though I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to meet 3 times before Monday, just trying to avoid that as well. Like,
Right.
there's just so much we can do. That's Not a criticism to anybody, it's not like we don't hear your concerns, I just don't.
And we're hearing from teachers too.
Yeah, no,
via
I get
text,
it.
And it won't be ratifiable if we come back with them with that amount.
Right.
It just won't.
We got to find a way though, between the two of us to bridge this, and I mean, we could plug that in and show you what your offer looks like, but
Do you want me to?
the 11, what was it, 1150?
Well, I mean,
Was that what it was?
she gave us the 12, it's going to be similar.
Yeah, you're right there.
Um,
It's 470,000, I'm short 470,000.
That's coming from somewhere.
And I appreciate that.
Your philosophy is different than ours on that, I think.
It is, and I appreciate, and I appreciate, I appreciate wanting to make sure that we see the numbers. And where we're coming from is that we just have too many staff that don't move. And having that increase in insurance and not having an increase in pay that is over the increase of insurance, they're losing money. And as a team, it's hard for us to say, okay, yeah, you know, we'll go ahead and sign off on that, you know? So, I mean, that's kind of where we're coming from on it. I mean, honestly, it's the same argument as last year. We just have a lot of people that are stuck, and if they can't move up or down, that $375 isn't going to put much of a hole in the insurance rate.
I'm just curious, I mean, I'm new to education, so we had step and columns, but we didn't have anything similar to this. I mean, is this how every school district does salaries? I mean, is this across the board? I mean, does every district have the dead spot? I mean, I don't know. Isn't that way? The spot in the middle where people don't move? I mean.
Not necessarily. Every school district is allowed to do something different. So, for example, just in our capital area, just in here at like Shawnee County, for example, Shawnee Heights does a % increase difference. So instead, they do a % multiplier. So the longer that you're there, each cell is multiplied by something different. And so the longer that you're there, you get a higher multiplier.
And theirs is extended out more.
Right, and so is 501s. 501s is a bigger one, so that you don't get to a corner or you don't get to the top as quickly. It's been, yeah, we shortened it 15 years ago.
I just found my KNEA article with all of us in it about the year we did it. But it was sitting on my desk. I don't know when it was, but I found the picture of the feature for doing it.
It was 15 years ago, or right around in there, I think. And at the time, you know, the theory was, and the thought behind it is, if you let teachers get to the top of your salary schedule, well, ours is top, everybody else is bottom, we're backwards. So you get to the top of your salary schedule faster and you're making more money, you're accruing that money sooner in your career.
Okay.
At the time, districts were able to put a substantial % into each cell. And so districts were able to give 2% into a cell instead of saying like $100 or $200. And so at the time when that was done, that's the way it could work. Since then, so much has changed with education funding that where it used to be advantageous to be able to do that, now we're seeing those people that are up there, because we're only putting so much money per cell, it's not skewing the way that it used to.
Okay. I was just curious, I wasn't for sure if everybody had this craziness that goes on. I I mean, within the salary schedule.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
I mean,
talking-
everyone's got the salary, it's just how they how they accrue and where they put their money. You know, I think 501 did a big overhaul of theirs, like in a couple-year process where they re-overhauled teachers who've been there like 1 through 15 years and then 15 through 30 years or whatever, and so there's been overhauling of salary schedules going on, but yeah, everyone's got, it looks similar, it doesn't always operate similar.
And I think we've, in the last few years, have always wanted to change the salary schedule so that the steps were, like, from one step to the next is more even kill instead of just, like this, if you step up here, you might get $200, or a step over here might be 680, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not
Very
uniform,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to do that costs a lot of money.
Liz?
Yeah.
I think I can safely say, I think that everyone on our team would agree that none of us want to see any of the teachers lose money this next year due to the increase in insurance costs. We have this deficit of about 470,000 or so with the current proposal. Do you all have any thoughts on where those cuts could come from?
We just saw those today, so we would like to take a look at those numbers a little bit closer so that we can break them down. So if Lorna wouldn't mind looking, like, can we take a look at that? Is there something that we can do?
Take a look at what, I'm sorry.
The spreadsheet that you had with those different numbers in there? We've gotten it. Like, I've gotten the personal information before.
Okay.
As a team, we don't share it. And in all honesty,
The only thing I
it's
have
public
to be,
knowledge.
the only thing I have to be careful of is I received this from a different school district and I still have their personal information because all these tabs, if I start deleting tabs, it messes up my spreadsheet.
Okay.
If I can find a way to get rid of their names and those kinds of things, yes, because I promised this guy would not share this.
Can you copy and paste just our part into a new spreadsheet and send us that?
It won't.
Or can
flow.
you,
Like you can't change the amounts and let it
or
change.
can you go through and just change, and like, can you make a copy of it? In that spreadsheet, that's the copy, delete those people's names.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and see if I can't get rid of everything you know what I mean,
Yeah.
personalized to this school district.
And that would be fine, yes. But that way we could take a closer look at those numbers, and kind of look and see, because it's hard to wrap your brain around something that you just saw.
Sorry, what school district did it come from?
We don't want to tell
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed
I
that.
told this guy, and honestly, I would have to go dig through my business cards on my desk. I don't even
I'm sorry, I missed that.
remember.
Yeah, if it's Kansas, it's still public. Not that you have to share, I mean, we can delete it, but it's public information, all salaries for public educators.
It is, but I had to hunt and bag in this guy to give me this. And I mean,
What we might be able to do is, and I'm talking the worst case
I'm
scenario,
trying to get
we
rid of
could
names.
print off each one of them at the different amounts. And, because you just want that, what you really would want to see is what
Well, and I want to see the flow from where it's teachers all the way to the end. And that's what I want to look at
Where the
closer.
money's coming from.
So that's where I want to look at closer, is the flow from, because I can do the math and I can say that, okay, well, it's $37,979 to add $100 to each cell, you know, and I can do that math and take that times, but it's the flow across that I want to take a look at. You know, figuring in all those different costs and looking at all of that. Because if it was just the straight math for 100 cell, I could do that on paper. So I just want to make sure that we're looking at, you know, we're comparing the same thing and looking at the same numbers. Okay. Okay, so saying that, you don't think we can meet until the board meeting, which is the 10th. So do we want to meet on the 11th, a week from today?
Fine.
we like the 1 o'clock time again?
That's fine.
And do you want to meet here again?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think this works well.
Fine. For me.
We may get to a point where we struggle because we have those doggone students in the way. But hopefully we're solved and done before then.
Okay. And a week will give us time to look at those numbers and a time for our team to meet too, so that we can
And if you
take a
have
look at those
questions,
closer.
get
It is us, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay. If that's it, we'll conclude for now.
Okay.
Give us a chance to look at stuff on both sides.